40 acres and a mule. There's been a lot of talk and speculation, so I went out and I did the research in regards to 40 acres and a mule. Where did the story begin? My research showed me that the story began around 1864 when General William T. Sherman marched from Atlanta, Georgia to Savannah, Georgia. The march is close to 300 miles. March was done in a few days. Now, up on his arrival to Savannah, this is when the talks of 40 acres and a mule started. Now, the idea was to give people who were disadvantaged and coming out of slavery to have some type of resource and means to bolster their economical well-being and, cater to the needs of their welfare. However, most people that I talk to, they have no idea how this story started, who started it, why did it start. So those are some of the reasons I found that it was started in Savannah, Georgia in 1864. Now, with that proposition, General William T. Sherman, he proposed to have people who were slaves, right? So at this point, the march from Atlanta, Georgia to Savannah, Georgia, they destroyed a lot of Confederate forces. Okay, so you'll see a lot of forts around the Savannah, Georgia, area, like Fort Pulaski. There's some forts like Fort Mellister and stuff like that. They're still riddled with bullet holes from cannons like these. Right, cannons like these, and those were battles in American Civil War history that were fought between the Union forces and the Confederate forces. So the Confederate forces were defeated, and General William Sherman was an integral part in doing that in the Atlanta, coming back to the Savannah, Georgia area. So after the meeting and the proposition was made, what we realized is that a lot of people, land were taken from the Confederates, right? And people who owned slaves in that area. So the land was taken from them by General Sherman. However, in 1865, when President Andrew Johnson became president, now that followed right after President Abraham Lincoln was killed in the theater. So when he became president, President Johnson, he rescinded some of that land back to the slave owners. But however, some of the black people in that area still retain some amount of that land, right? And other blacks in that area, they practice sharecropping and stuff like that. However, I did visit parts of Georgia, South Carolina, and in Florida, and I met and spoke with a lot of local people in these areas, and I was kind of surprised, but not really. But I could say I met people who work for free, who are still alive today in America, which is slavery. Working for free is slavery. So I met sharecroppers, people who worked on cotton farms in Georgia, Canton, Georgia, and these areas, and also people who were just subjugated to the remnants of slavery, having no resources and coming out of poverty to this day, right? So I met and spoke with a lot of these people, and like I said, the idea of the 40 acres and a mule, that's how it started in Savannah, Georgia, right? But it slowly disappeared when Lincoln was killed, President Lincoln was killed, and also President Andrew Johnson took over. Okay, so that covers that. So here are some of the people that I met and spoke with in different parts of the South, including South Carolina, Georgia, and Florida. Take a listen to them and let me know what you think. From a kid.
Life was hard. I wished I never learned how to hold cotton, because I did it one day. My daddy came in, he said, "Who chopped that out there in that field out there?" I said, "Me." He said, "Okay, tomorrow, get your hoe." you can be ready to go. I said, oh, I will. He said, you did a good job. And what is it now?
How old were you when you did that?
Yeah, how old were you?
I was about 70 years old. 70 years old.
And
I always liked to be with my dad.
Mhm.
So I tried to make him proud of me by helping hold his cotton. And he liked it. And I started from there. Then I had to pick the cotton. He put me in the front of him and he was behind.
Mhm.
But my other brothers, they were together. And we did that for years and years. And he would always tell us, I want 100 today.
Mhm.
That's when the cotton came out, time to pick it. I said 100, but I never got to 100.
Never got to 100. So that your dad farmed cotton. What else did he farm?
He farmed wheat,
Wheat.
and he did a garden. And what else he did? Cotton. And he did a lot of pine.
Pine
with
trees.
With a horse, too.
With a horse.
Yeah, with
Okay.
a horse.
So you had an animal to assist in the growing of the crops.
Yeah.
All right. So after where would he sell those products that he produced?
That what?
How did he make money from it?
He didn't make money. We lived from it.
Oh.
We was on a plantation,
Uh-huh.
and we had the
What's the name of the plantation?
Marcus Bridge plantation.
Okay.
And he would plant a whole lot of cotton. Then at the end of the year,
Mhm.
he would tell my dad, you just made it over. And he kept every year, you just made it over. That means you didn't get nothing. You were working for what you ate and did.
So who owned the plantation?
Marcus Bridge.
Okay. Is that a white man or a black man?
White man.
Okay.
And every year he would say, you just made it over. And we would get tired of just made it over. And so my dad's side here moved away from there.
Uh-huh.
And
What
then-
year was this?
I said 1962.
Okay.
Side here moved away from there.
So was it like sharecropping?
Yeah, sharecrop.
So you would work to survive,
Yeah,
not make money from
not
anything.
make money.
And every year the guy would tell him he just made it over.
You just made cleared your book. Just cleared your book.
Just clear the book enough to get him back working for the next year.
Next.
So who got tired of that?
My brother Joe, and he listened to him, and they finally told him we need to get away from that,
Yeah.
and so we did, and then we moved over there on Dora Hill Bush. We moved on Dora Hill
That's
Bush
fine.
Road
Mhm.
to I forget what the man was named, but he was a very nice man. We moved in that house.
Uh-huh.
But we picked cotton. We did get paid.
So
But
that's
the-
another white guy that you
Yeah.
moved into his house.
Yeah.
So you did get paid this time.
No. We did get paid.
What's his
But-
name?
Brad Graham. That's what he was named.
And what city was this? The same place?
That's up there by Dora Bush Hill Road.
In
And
Carlton?
up there out from Santa Claus.
Okay.
And then we did his sharecrop. And I don't know what happened to them. They got mad or what.
Mhm.
So my daddy said he was going to build him a house. So he built this little house over here, right down below Santa Claus.
Mhm.
And that's what we lived in. But I wasn't there too long because I got married in 62.
Okay.
So, but the first place where we lived, it was just a little rundown shack.
Mhm.
Had 3 rooms. And all of us lived in that one house.
Mhm.
All of us lived in it.
So you would say coming up as a kid, there was a lot of moving around from
Yeah.
one plantation
To another.
to another plantation,
Yeah. And I told we didn't have no indoor water
right?
and no bathroom. Just like I tell my children now, y'all blessed. They are really blessed.
Why you say that?
Cause we had to go outside and use the bathroom. We did too. You did too. Well, now these children use the bathroom in the house. They got good. They got water. They could take a bath. We had to take a bath in a tin tub.
Mm.
You ever heard tell a tin tub, take
Yeah.
a bath in foot tub, tin tub.
Mhm.
You had to go out there in the backyard and sit in the backyard and
Yeah.
take a bath.
That's how life was coming up.
And I got one now, you got water. They run the water, but they don't take a bath, they let it run.
So, as far as, say, schooling is concerned, did you go to school as a kid?
No, I went, but I went about one day out a week. One day out a week. That's all that we had. But my brother John went more than we did. That's the oldest brother. He went regular more than we did, but we didn't get to go that much.
Okay, so was it because you didn't want to go, or because economically the parents couldn't afford all these resources to send his
No,
kids
they
to school?
they couldn't afford it, but we had to work in the field.
Yeah.
You had to work in the field. You had to get that cotton out of the field. So you couldn't go to school.
Go to get to school. So as before you got married, was life? What age did you get married?
18.
18. And then you move away. What was your first job? First job you had?
Working at woodwork in Athens.
Mhm.
Woodwork. I think it's called woodwork.
And what does that comprise of?
Huh?
What does that consist of? Your job?
It consists of making, just like making sandwich like you're in a restaurant.
Mhm.
That's what I did. I made sandwich and I was at a deli. Whatever they want, I made it from the deli.
Now, what year were you born, if you don't mind?
I was born in November the 11th, 25th. I was born November the 11th, 25th, 1945.
1945.
November 25th, 1945.
Okay. That's a long time.
What did I be?
What does that be? Her age?
I'm supposed to be.
But you look well for your age.
I'm 77.
You look well.
Thank you.
Yeah, you look.
I
you look
worked
very
hard
well.
enough.
Huh?
I didn't get in the street either.
That's good.
I didn't. I don't smoke. I didn't chew tobacco.
Mhm.
I didn't drink. I didn't do nothing but drink some water.
Water and eat good food.
And yeah, eat good food. You could lay down and we had to lay on the floor. Someone couldn't lay in some bed because we had to lay on the floor
Mhm.
and make a pallet. And I could lay down on the floor and shake my stomach. Couldn't hear nothing but water shake.
Life today is much different from what it was in the yesteryears. What would you say about these kids coming up today? As far as what would you like them to know about where the family is coming from to where it's at today?
I like them to know they might have to go back to some of these things that they can't do now
Mhm.
because, how to put it, I tell them all the time, I say, you my child, I beat your butt. And I would beat their butt,
Yeah.
but they don't get that now.
No.
They'll tell you, I call 911 on you. Yeah, you call and see where you go. Go with the 911. Then they gonna say about people. I tell other people about it, and they say, well, you know, the generation is changing.
Mhm.
It ain't supposed to change. Supposed to do just like we would. Get your butt whooped if you ain't acting right.
Mhm.
Don't think they get away with so much.
Yeah. Now, socially and economically, what are some of the disadvantages you came up under back in those times? Socially and economically, or either. So you would say you didn't? Did you have a bus that you took to school, or you had to walk?
I had to walk most of it until they built the new school up here in Lexington.
Mhm.
I had to walk to school. They were down there. What you call it? I forget the name of that lady. Annie Campbell. I had to walk down there to Annie Campbell. It's just one big room.
Was there any bus system, any whatsoever?
No,
Okay.
till later on.
So you came up in the days of segregation in the United States, right? Segregation, that means blacks and whites were separate.
They were separate.
You came up in the segregated days. So when the city bus and all this stuff started to run, were you able to ride on the buses?
They wouldn't ride there. No buses down here to ride on.
None?
None. You had to go to Athens, back up in that area to catch a bus if you wanted to get on one.
Only place he had bus available was Athens.
They finally got one up there in Crawford and Lexington, right out there on the street, out from the high school.
But how would you commute? Like, how would you get around?
You had to walk.
That's pretty.
If you didn't have a
That's pretty intense.
if you didn't have a horse and a buggy, when nobody had to take you to, you had to have a house. And when they got through with their old car, the white people, they gave my parents the old regular car. That's what you got. Then they got the new car.
So your dad bought a car from a plantation owner?
Yeah.
What type of car was it?
It was a Nova.
Okay.
Something.
Did it run or you had to be working at it all the time?
No, it ran pretty good.
Okay. Was he happy to get it?
Yeah, he was very happy. He was terrible walking.
How much did he pay for it? Do you know?
I think he gave it to him.
Oh, he just gave it
You
to
had
him.
to pay. You had to pay for it out of that cotton.
Oh, you got to work, strip
Yeah.
the cotton, and pay for it through
Yeah, that's just like a bill.
that.
You got to pay for what you get.
Paid to live, basically.
Yeah.
That's intense. So if you're going for 10 miles, you would still have to walk the 10
You
miles?
had to walk. I used to go. Me and my mama and sisters, most of them, we used to walk to Bethlehem to the church. If somebody didn't come by and pick us up,
That's the same city we
Where I
Bethlehem.
showed you where my
Yeah.
kids was going.
You had to walk there to the church.
yeah, and walk to the church. And most of the time, Mr. Eugene, I forget his name, Mr. Eugene, I forget, he would be going to church and he would always, most of the time, pick us up. Now, he had a car, but it was an old car too, but he had a car.
When did you start to see like changes and the family start to get better with time as far as living conditions and stuff is concerned? What year? Around what time?
I'd say around 1971.
Okay. What changes did you see?
They got to go to school. They got to ride the bus. And a lot of things they did.
Ride a bus, go to school.
Yeah.
What about jobs?
No jobs.
No jobs.
You couldn't get no jobs.
Why not?
I don't know, because they said they kept you in the field so you couldn't go to no plant. You had to stay in the field. You talking about going getting a job at a plant. You messing up.
What do you mean you're messing up? You're trying to get a job.
Yeah, you'll be leaving their place then. Place of business. They don't want you to leave their place of business and go way up there and get that other man's job.
Who's that? The white folks?
Yeah. So I worked at the poultry. And I worked there for 22 years.
What's the name of that poultry you worked at?
Gold Kiss. And when I left Gold Kiss, you know how much I was making an hour? $6.10.
Where's it located at?
Out from Prince Avenue up there in Athens, Georgia.
$6 an hour?
A building that's a community center, you can have parties and stuff, but back in the day, in 1914, it was the high school. It moved from here down south, over there. We have 3 high schools. Historically, 1914, I think 1950s, 40s or 50s, and then 1970s.
Okay.
And so it's just something, again, the city wants to preserve the past. That's a movie theater, one of the first movie theaters.
Which one? The pink building?
The pink building.
Okay.
I think the colored people had to sit up top and the whites were allowed down there. This is a city that had white-only water fountains and stuff like that. But as me and this guy testified, he was raised in the 50s and 60s. I was raised in the 60s and 70s.
You probably couldn't be seen sitting together back in that time.
Well, no, we could. We played sports. We didn't know a lot of the social, economic issues,
yeah.
or the history. It didn't affect us.
Yeah.
Man, he's a man, he can play ball. He's got muscles.
Yeah.
You know, I want him in front of me when we're going down the field.
Yeah.
Or I want him behind me when we're going into. So it was something that our country went through. How this country was developed. Somebody had to have muscles and build stuff. Well, my dad was the muscles in the 50s.
Okay.
Farming, it's a farm community.
Yeah. Strawberry main crop.
The high school was closed during the strawberry season. We had strawberry schools. It's a whole different calendar than the calendars nowadays. And then it changed as time changed. And so we're a community of the past, agricultural, very significant, these railroad tracks. You parked over by the depot.
Yeah, and I went over
museum,
there and I catch some of the footage.
Yes, I'm sorry. Henry Plant. Henry Plant is the namesake of the city. He built a railroad from the east over to Tampa, University of Tampa, Plant Hotel. Hotel Plant was right there in that building.
Okay.
In the early 1800s, 1900s, that was one of the first buildings. It was a hotel for Mr. Plant and his railroad industry, and he'd pick up oranges.
Okay. Put them on the train.
Cattle. There's a man who has 1,000 acres south of here. His family, the Crum family. Cattle industry, cattle. And they come up here and put them on the train. Send them to Tampa, send them north, south, send them over there, north. And so we're a significant railroad community, agricultural community. Then the phosphate industry's nearby. And they're shipping phosphate all over the world and stuff. And so you have a diverse group of humanity, African American, black people, white people, and
Latinos.
Mexicans came in the 70s to do the farm work because the white people had educated themselves
not to do farm work
and started doing engineering jobs and building roads.
more
and,
white collar, you would say, type job.
yeah, and so you have a lot of the money is inherited wealth that's been compounded through possession of land. That's significant too.
Very important.
Who owns the land, and they control the dollar.
Ownership is 90%.
Yep. And so we live in a community here that's the heart of Florida. We're centrally located in Florida.
Next door to Lakeland.
Yep, between Tampa and Lakeland. We're on the I-4 corridor. There's a phrase called Orlampa.
Yep.
Orlando, Tampa. And we're on the west side of Orlampa. The greater Orlampa, we have now big time warehouses coming in. City Furniture, Furniture City, they've got, I don't know, 50 acres of warehouse. Just you go on I-4, you'll see.
And I saw the Publix corporate office somewhere close.
Publix is big time.
Yeah.
Yep.
Publix corporate office.
Well, we have it's Lakeland is Publix.
Yeah.
George Jenkins, the founder of Publix, lived in. There's a George Jenkins High School in Lakeland. That's
In Lakeland, Florida.
Publix food industry. But yeah, but mine is spiritual. I had the natural birth and grew up. I got born again spiritually, and now I know God, and I'm led by the Spirit, and I'm waiting here to see. Probably the Hispanics take this over as far as government goes.
Right.
Right now it's run by mostly white, black, Southern good old boy.
Right.
But there's a transition.
It's a transition.
Yeah, I'm gonna get trouble for that.
I mean, the
Hey,
people.
it's the truth.
The people
to be
want,
honest,
the people want to know stuff, man, and that's why I do these videos. And these videos, for example, I was speaking to one of my kids last night, and she told me the videos she likes the most is the one that I do with random people.
Yeah, spontaneous, random.
Spending no plan,
just
nothing.
speaking from the
That's it, from the hip.
yeah.
Shotgun, right?
Out of the heart, the mouth speaks.
That's it. It's nothing planned.
And what I liked in that movie, we can't handle the truth.
No.
You can't handle the truth. Yeah, but guess what? The truth has no problem handling us. The truth always comes out. If you stay with something long enough, and again, it may not come out into court. The truth may not come out in court. It may be mishandled.
Right.
But down the road, it will be revealed for anyone and everyone who needs to know the truth. And the bottom line is, there's a man who came, lived, died, and he left, and he's coming back. That's the truth. Now, we don't know. You have an opinion, I have an opinion, and really, I don't think, I don't have a lot of confidence in my thinking, but I know. And that's where you go from natural to spiritual. And that's where the evidence is that there are people who are born of the Spirit of God. They know God and God knows them. And they have a perfect peace. My personal testimony, I was on the Highway 60 driving a car and I hit a pedestrian. The sheriff, Hillsborough County Sheriff, which is the county we're in, he came to the scene and said he's not dead yet, but there's nothing we can do. That's not true. That's a lie. I've seen a man out here on the street fall off his motorcycle. a truck ran him off the road, and he crashed his motorcycle right over there, and he was laying on the sidewalk. This is years after the first. I was over there holding his hand.
Yeah.
He wasn't dead yet, and he didn't die. He lived. The guy out there in 60, he wasn't dead yet, but he did die. I killed a man on accident, a vehicle.
Not intentionally.
No, a very traumatic experience.
Yeah.
And I, as a college student, 30-something years ago, I could not sleep. But my family had brought me up with a Bible in the home, a religion. They had faith in it. And so I picked up the Bible and I started reading, and I read another book, and I fell asleep over 35 years ago. Guess what I do when I get bothered?
Yeah.
I read the Bible and I fall asleep.
Read the Bible and fall asleep.
I read the Bible and I fall asleep. And so that Holy Bible has gone from the pages into my human being, and the essence of who I am. My mind, my will, and my emotions are heavily influenced by the Holy Bible. My soul, my heart. David, the king and the psalmist, he says, I've hidden your word in my heart that I may not sin against you. I always have a choice whether to do what I should or what I could. You know, we should or could, you know, we have that
should,
freedom.
woulda, coulda.
Yeah, we have a freedom. But God is in control of all that.
Somebody's going to see
theology
this. Yeah. Somebody's going to see this video, and then they're going to reach out to you. First, they're going to reach out to me. Then they're going to reach out to you. How can they reach you? I'm going to post it on YouTube. And then how can they find you? On Facebook, YouTube, email?
I am on Facebook, Richard Humphrey, Plant City, Florida.
You got to spell it for them. So they
R-I-C-H-A-R-D H-U-M-P-H-R-E-Y.
Right.
Plant, P-L-A-N-T, City, C-I-T-Y.
Okay.
Florida, F-L. And I'm the guy standing there like this. But my picture, I was in Atlanta, Georgia, Super Bowl 2019. And I have a vehicle that carries all my equipment because I do street ministry in different ways.
Okay.
I hold a sign and say, "Woo, amen, forgive," you know, and I have a shirt. And
minister the word.
Yeah.
Get it a hot dog or a hamburger or something, you had to go to the back to be fed. And my dad was the one that never wanted us to do that. He was always wanting us to go through the front. And when we did go through the front door, they would stop us. And then a lot of times they would call the policeman, you know, because they would say, you can't do this, you know. I saw that. But, you know, and a lot of times when we was like at school and we was on the band and basketball teams and stuff like that, there were cars like would follow behind us. That was, you know, white people in the car and stuff like that, just to see what we was going or what we was doing. And we were just going to a ball game. And stuff like that.
Has they ever stopped you before?
And where y'all going? And why are you going this way? And then they would tell them that this is a ball game, and they would sometimes get and come on the bus and look at us to see if we was a team or we was in the basketball or stuff like that. Yeah, they would do that. Yeah.
Okay, so going through all that trauma as a kid coming up in the South, kid of color, a black kid coming up in the South, all that stuff that you went through back then, how does it impact you today in the mental and, you know, otherwise, psychologically and otherwise?
Well, I know psychologically is not impact me that much because my mom would sit down and explain things to me. Also, you know, my mom always say be kind to anybody, you know, regardless of the color, the race, or whatever. Just be kind and be loved one. And the thing that we got when I was coming up is like stay in your place. They use that a lot. That way, stay in your place mean, you know, it keep you from harm's way. It keeps you from getting hurt in a certain way. It keep you from being maybe hit on or pushed on or something like that. So we knew
pushed on by who?
Huh?
By who?
By maybe the white supremacists or white people that just didn't like you. You know, we just knew to stay in our place coming up back then. You know, we just took it upon ourselves that we would all stick together and stay in our place. Like, you know, we would go walk on this side of the street. We would all go on this side. We would cross over or something like that, you know. And
I noticed there's a lot of cotton fields in South Carolina. Have you noticed that?
Yeah.
You seen them? Are they still here?
there are some here, yeah.
Okay.
There are cotton fields here and stuff. And my mom and dad, they picked cotton and stuff when I was young.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember going out in the cotton field, you know. I didn't pick much cotton, but I was there, you know, sitting there and stuff.
Did they get paid?
Yeah, they got a wages at that time. The time in cotton they brought in. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. All right. So you said earlier that there were land available to black folks as far as resources are concerned. Other than the resources, what other tools were given to blacks or blacks had that would improve their life, quality of life back then?
Okay, back then, blacks had a lot of land. And during the history and stuff, a lot of land was taken away from a lot of black people in smaller towns, you know. And towns that I was raised in, like up in Seneca, West Medicine, stuff like that. They was given a lot of land. And if they worked the land, you know, they was given to them. But also that if they would go to the bank and stuff, they couldn't get a loan on their land to build a house and stuff. A lot of times, you know, they got turned down.
So this is what they call today redlining.
Right.
They block you out of certain economical resource, certain type of economical structure that would help you as a people.
Right.
And who do you think come up with these systems or portray do you think it's a white supremacist or people with hidden agendas, philosophical views, you know, that oppose certain races? How do you think they come up with this stuff?
I don't know how they come up with it, but it's a lot of hidden agenda of hate. They just do not want you to get ahead. They just really feel like a lot of people don't need to get ahead, but a lot of black people do get ahead. You know, and
especially
they have got
today.
ahead. Today they get ahead a lot. And then there are a lot of white people that realize that to help black people, they also help them to get ahead. So now it's totally different in a way, you know, because we're like sticking together more, and that's good.
And there's some good white folks out there. Great white folks.
Yeah,
I met a lot of them.
It's a lot of great ones there, and they will help you a lot. And they can see what you've been going through, and they can see how you feel. You know, a lot of them can. Yeah. And they can understand you. You know.
I meet a lot of great white folks.
Yeah.
You know, in all different races.
Yeah.
But you know, it's just a handful of bad apples.
Yeah.
That's still out there. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Yeah, it's a handful of bad apples. I have a lot of white friends that's really good to me as of now, you know, and I appreciate it. But it's still a lot of bad apples because they don't see or they don't feel what they need to within their heart and in their mind. They don't. They let that just carries with them. Whatever they was brought up with, some of them just let it carry over and over and over. And they need to just think about it.
So they couldn't get the loans from the bank. What they resort to? Just keep working, or?
Well, when they couldn't get the loan to the bank, they just keep working and kind of save within themselves and go back and try a lot. You know, even going to school or going to college. You know, you had to try a lot. You know what I'm saying?
Because education, you said, was a big deal back then.
Education was a big deal, you know. It's like if you had parents that went to church and they knew education was valuable, they would want their child to get as much education as they could in order to make it, because this is what they could do. It would open up a lot of doors for them. And now it's the same thing. You know, you have to tell your child, get your education, get more and more than you can.
I mean, growing up in Jamaica, that was the thing also. You know, getting the education, getting a job, and all sorts. America's a different thing, so.
Yeah.
But I still did all that stuff. I got the education and all, you know.
Right.
But I'm just showing the similarities in cultures and geographical regions.
Right.
Under the British system, it's similar. You know, the push for education and
Right.
the need to be a better person, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, what school did you attend?
I went to Blue Ridge High, then I went to Apex Beauty School in Philadelphia to be a cosmetology, and that's what I did.
Okay.
And then after that, I worked and got into psych a little bit, you know, and I worked at the mental hospital.
The where?
At the mental hospital down here at Patrick B. Harris Mental Hospital.
Mm-hmm.
I worked with that, psychiatrists and stuff like that. Mental health specialist,
Mental
what
health
I was.
specialist.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So you're now retired, or do you still do a little something here and there?
Well, I retired.
Mm-hmm.
I retired.
Okay, cool. And you said going to school back in those days, it was a segregated thing, you say? Was it an all-black school you went to, or?
I went to all black school, yeah.
Okay,
I
cool.
went to all black school. Blue Ridge High was all black school. But yeah, but afterwards, you know, they integrated. But it was all black school back then. We had a black band. We had the best black band going on. We used to walk down the street. I was a head majorette at that time. We did real good, you know. And they would say, oh, the black band is coming from Blue Ridge High School. They are good. And we were real good.
Really good.
We were real good. And we had a good football team and we had a good basketball team when I was coming up. Very good.
So you were the drum majorette?
Yeah. I was head majorette, yeah.
Okay, so tell me something about that. Like, get some more into it. Like,
Okay,
what was your
well,
job?
I was a head majorette in front of all the majorettes, and I would just like show them what to do and stuff like that, and they would be behind me, and I would lead them. We twist the baton and stuff, you know, over your head, under your legs and everything, and we did that, and we marched around. And in Seneca, we used to practice in Seneca, and everybody used to come out of their houses to see the black band going around, because we were good. We were real good and stuff like that. And it was great. And then we was in the parades in Anderson, Greenville, all around. And they would, you know, that band, can we do next Saturday? We're going to have an Easter egg hunt or something like that. Everything revolved in the church. The church is where, when I was raised up, people would go to church. The preacher was like the head of everything. And we gave real respect for whatever went on. And then baptism, we would, you know, everybody would get baptized as a child. You know, if you felt the spirit of wanting to join the church, then the baptism was a big thing. We'd have to get all dressed up in white. We'd have to walk to the creek and stuff like that and get baptized. And a lot of times while we was walking to the church and stuff like that, you know, you just like have white people's like Ku Klux Klans or something that be riding behind us to see where's all these people going, you know, because there'd be a lot of us. And they'd have the umbrellas if it was hot and everything. And a lot of kids would get baptized and stuff like that. And it was in a big creek, you know, like even a snake could jump in there or anything, and it was muddy, you know?
Yeah, and that's where you baptized then.
Yeah, the baptizing.
So you said that the Ku Klux Klan would ride behind you.
Well, we was at a creek one time, and the Ku Klux Klans or whatever would be riding up on their horses around, up looking around and seeing what we were doing. Yeah, and we were just being baptized.
Kind of like policing you.
Yeah, like policing us, yes. But then we would walk back to the church and we'd be okay, you know, and we know to be on our best behavior. So we'd all walk together and we'd all go back to the church and everything and stuff like that, you know. But they was just concerned, I guess, I don't know. But it have been in my lifetime that the Ku Klux Klan has been kind of strong, you know, around as I was coming up, you know.
And you saw what happened to Emmett Till, from, you know, the guy who, you know, Emmett Till story.
Yeah, I know that story, which was awful. It was terrible.
When that story occurred, how old were you?
I was very young, real young and stuff, but I remember the story, and I remember seeing that paper, you know, the newspaper with his picture, and it was just so destroyed and within to see something like that happen, you know. And I also remember when they went and sat at the county up there, and they was pulling those people off the counter, you know, when they was going to the counter trying to eat and stuff like that. I remember a lot. I remember when Martin Luther King got shot. It was very hurtful, you know. And I remember going to school in Philadelphia, and we would go to the march up there, and we would go to hear Martin Luther King speak. Yeah.
So when you you said you heard the story about Hamilton as a child. So as a child, and you saw that happen to another kid of color.
Yeah.
What went through your mind? Like, what were you thinking at the time?
Well, what I was thinking was that it could happen to anybody. It could happen to any child. And I was really thinking, how can a person be so mean and be so evil? Mm-hmm. And what was they thinking at the time that they did that? And it was very hurt to see the mother mm-hmm. of him, being sad like that. And I was saying, that could be my brother, that could be my sister, that could even be me, that could be anyone, and that's something like stain you for a long time. It stays within your heart, and it bothers you to think that people are that evil, mm-hmm. In this world. You would never think that would be, but it is.
It is. Now, do you see any signs of the Ku Klux Klan today?
Well,
in your area where you live at.
Well, in my area, I don't really see them, mm-hmm. but the resistance, it have to be here in a different way. Mm-hmm. Like a different way. Like maybe people are trying to get a job, mm-hmm. and it might be somebody that really is like in the Ku Klux Klans or white racists, and they don't let you know right out, but they doing things like underhanding, like if you want to get a job and stuff like that, and the person, they don't have their heart into it, mm-hmm. They might be sitting there saying, well, I remember back this way and that, and they might be raised a certain way to hate black people or hate you, mm-hmm. and so if they're in a position to try to hire you, they're not going to hire you because of the way they feel. Their heart is not going to be in it, and they're not going to be thinking with their head. You know what I'm saying, like that.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah.
I've had some experiences as far as work is concerned.
Right.
With discrimination and stuff like that. So I completely get it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay. All right, so we said that the Emancipation Proclamation was on January 1st, 1863. So the Civil War era, right? Mm-hmm. So throughout that years, it was law that slaves should be freed. Mm-hmm. And after that, there's some people that you said still hold the philosophy of segregation,
right?
Classism, racism, many other negative isms mm-hmm. and schisms that still impact society to this day, right?
It does.
Okay. Other than the KKK riding behind you, doing stuff, what are some other things that you saw? You spoke about the job thing.
Yeah.
Getting work.
Okay. What I saw was like when I was young, we'd have to go upstairs to.
Okay, guys, so now that you have listened to their stories and heard from each individual person, these are real people that I met in different areas. Now that you have heard their stories, you can see for yourself that slavery does not necessarily mean whips and chains. It could be done in different ways. Now, the purpose of this video is to inform and educate. We have seen the United States come a far way, and I'm shocked how much progress has been made, because 1865 and 64 is not very far from today, 2024, right? But there's a lot of progress that has been made, but there's still work to be done. There are people in this world who hold these ideologies that are racist and very slave-like philosophies they have inside their head. You understand what I'm saying? So people need to be educated. You need to be aware that these people do exist in society till this day, and there's still work to be done, right? There's still work to be done. So spread awareness and educate each one, teach one. The goal is to make it better to leave it better than how we came and saw it. This is the goal, okay? So until next time, this is Big Muscle. I'm always on the hustle. Catch me in the next video. Peace.